hard hitting in it.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Mancunian Way. As you can quite clearly see, Martin is not on again tonight due to personal reasons, and we all send him the best, and he will be back at the weekend. Tonight, we've got a great panel. We've got Alex, who is not on camera because he's currently out, but he will be joining us. Of course, we've got the remarkable but yet charismatic Alan, and misery in the corner, Rich. Good evening, guys. How are we all doing?
Good evening.
Good morning. Morning, Steve. Good morning, Steve.
Morning, lads.
Here he is, Mr. Boxhill himself.
It looks like Manchester weather out there today, Alan. Don't know if you've been outside yet.
Not yet, but I will be doing in a while.
Just like to quickly do a couple of shout outs for Luke, who has renewed his membership for another 8 months. Thank you very much, mate. Well appreciated. And of course, Adam, MCFC Quinn, again, has become a YouTube member. Thank you so much, mate. We really appreciate it.
More than you believe. More than you believe, I'm happy.
And as if by magic. So, yeah, thank you very much. We will struggle to read out some of your comments tonight just because we don't have control and Martin's going to be away. I'm not able to access them because he's going to be busy. So we apologise, but you appreciate it. We struggle. We will try and keep it with any super chats that do come up. I will try and keep an eye that with the membership as well. So tonight, obviously, it's got the title, talking about the Champions League qualification places. We're going to briefly touch on that, I think.
Here we are. Here we go again. Go on, dogs.
As on cue, as always, Richard Dogs have got their opinion, and I'm sure they'll share it later, won't they, Rich?
Indeed.
So yes, obviously we've got another big game at the weekend, and we'll talk a little about that as well towards the end of the show. But I'd like just to kind of talk about, because there's been a lot of negativity of late, especially around the last few performances, and I think there's been a few issues. But I was kind of watching the PSG game the other night with Liverpool. And on cue. Yeah, it was kind of satisfying, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Because I think as good as Liverpool have been this season in the Premier League, they have seemed to have slipped up in the competitions. With the FA Cup and now the Champions League. And I've heard a few Liverpool fans kind of talk about PSG in respects of the way we've been talking about ourselves, like, you know, they haven't got enough pace, and you know the quality just hasn't been there with some of their players. And I was just a bit confused really, because I was thinking, hang on a minute, aren't you the best team in the Premier League right now? Haven't you got the best player on the planet in Salah? And are you telling me you can't, at your current peak, you know, go up against PSG team that are still fairly new?
They've been telling everybody they're the best team in the world for the last 8 months.
Well, yeah. But I think what I'm trying to get onto is look at like our achievements over the last few seasons, ever since the 2008 takeover. And I just think really truly looking at what we've done has been something that a lot of other clubs, the likes of Liverpool, have never achieved. 4 in a row, the treble, the domestic treble, the 100 points. I mean, as good as Liverpool are this season, they're not going to get anywhere near 100 points. And I just think that is something that, as a fan base, I think we've kind of forgotten. We've had our meltdowns, we've had our, you know, our heads have gone, we've all needed a bit of a wobble. But I really think this is something that we need to appreciate a little bit more about what we've done, because there are some teams, there are some managers who are never going to achieve what the likes of City have done. I just think that's important to remember.
I definitely agree. I think a lot of teams talk about doing a treble and look really good, but to actually see it through and actually complete the treble is a different story. I think again, so many Liverpool fans over here. I know you'd probably have a few, Alan, that you chat to, and they were pretty confident that they were going to do the lot. So it just goes to show how difficult it actually is.
They were talking about they've already done it.
They talk about the quad every season.
Yeah, every
100%. And the same point of the year, they all fall off.
Yeah, because I think what they forget is, and I think with Slot coming in, they've kind of learnt that, is that the whole Klopp heavy metal football, they would get burnt out towards the end of the season. And this is the point, as you said, Alex, where they would kind of start dropping off in certain competitions. So I still think they're probably not able to do that. But I think the thing with City is that this time of the year, we would come into our form. We would start then getting deeper into competitions, really focusing on the Champions League and
100%.
You know,
kind of start playing our best football at this time of year.
Yeah, because Pep knew how to manage the players. He knew how to manage in the competitions. Now, we're always successful. I mean, we've only won Champions League, but for me, it's the road that he's able to see ahead. Do you know what I mean? He's able to plan very well for these competitions, and that's why we've achieved so much in such a short space of time with this manager.
And I think, you know, you have to also consider at times how dominant City were in the league. You know, how we would go weeks, months without ever looking like we were going to lose. Like, I don't think many games this season Liverpool have looked dominant. I think Liverpool have shown they know how to get a result, and they showed it at the Etihad. They were, you know, much cleverer team than us that day, but they showed how to grind out results. But I've watched them in a few games where, you know, Wolves was one example where I don't think they looked any better side than Wolves, really.
Yeah,
you know, on the day,
and just managed to get over the line.
Yeah, and I've seen quite a few games like that, but they have shown an incredible ability to get results. And let's be quite honest. You know, fair play to them in the league in that, you know, Arsenal must be absolutely kicking themselves. Arsenal had everything set up for this season. If City dropped off, Arsenal have gone, toe to toe for 2 years, and suddenly, Arsenal have dropped off. I think Arsenal, like City and like Liverpool a couple of years ago, made mistakes that everyone knew about. I think we all thought not having Rodri back up was a silly mistake. Liverpool let their whole midfield get really old a few years ago, much like we've done this. And Arsenal not signing a number 9. Had Arsenal got a striker, then I think it might be a bit more nervous for Liverpool now. Even though Arsenal had some injuries, and football changes quick. Like people were, some people with Liverpool fans thinking PSG was going to be easy, but since Grealish's goal, I'm not sure there's been a better team in world football than PSG. That goal that Grealish scored annoyed them so much. They've been, and every time I've seen them play, and some highlights even from the French league, they've looked exceptional since then.
There's certainly a better team. Certainly a better team than all the world superstars that they had. They're actually playing together as a unit now.
Yeah,
and
since they got
it was
Georgian lad in,
it was
the Georgian lad's come in. Dembele's looked a phenomenal player since then. So I mean, just one player, a little switch around, and confidence, and suddenly they look exceptional. And Luis Enrique, but he's one game, 2 games in a knockout in the Champions League away of almost their season being over. So it's a fickle game.
Yeah, no, definitely. I also think about the moments as well that we've had as a fan base. Yeah, I think about the moment, the Villa game where we clinched the title. I think about 93-20. During those moments that have just made the last few years just remarkable. Do you know what I mean? To have those moments in football, you don't get them very often, and especially as a club, not a lot of clubs have those moments they can look on. I mean, you only have to look at Sky using the 93-20 caption to kind of advertise the Premier League. I mean, we have that, and it said that would never happen again, and yet it happened against Villa with Gundogan. At that time, not quite as maybe iconic in some respects, but still. Do you know what I mean? The moments for me have just been so magical, and I think that is something.
I think the Aguero moment is the top one for me. I travelled home for that, and I went to the game. I was in floods of tears when we won it. Because we went. Yeah. The fans have been through so much with dropping down divisions and etc. from the 90s and 80s, when we were under Swales and all the turmoil that we had, pretty much was similar to what Man United are going through right now, but even worse. And to see that happen, and then take it off them neighbours down the road in the very last seconds of the game, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I think Aussie's just trying to say it's more that we've just had so many big impactful moments, especially in the last few years. Like even you could say like knocking off United to do the treble as well was just as special.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And the reason I kind of mention these moments as well is because I think a lot of us, especially this season, have kind of fallen out of love with the game because it's become about VAR. It's become about, we all become financial experts. Do you know what I mean? Because of what's been going on with PSR and 115, and I think we just need to kind of fall in love with the game again a little bit. Fall in love with what we've done and what we've achieved.
I agree with that. I think a lot of people nowadays fall in love with the idea of transfers and bringing in players, rather than actually just enjoying the players that you've got while you've got them.
Yeah. It's going to be a new start next season.
I think that's the impatient. I mean, you know, I don't think football's going through anything that the rest of society isn't going through. I mean, I think technology, you know, it impacts everyone's lives for good and bad, just the way as it does football. I think the impatience for immediate results, I think, is rife in everything. It's, you know, you see it in every election, every bit of politics, everything, everywhere. You know, there is no long game anymore in life more generally, and you know, you often see it, you know, with way things are, you know, with employers, etc., etc. So I think football's only reflecting the world. I also think probably the world's a bit less of a happy place now than it was, you know, 10 years ago.
Couldn't
in
agree
terms
more.
of people's stress levels because of economies and etc., etc. So, you know, and I think that seeps into football, and I think it seeps back from football.
But it used to
and
be,
I think
that we'd be able to use football as an escape. Do you know what I mean? Football would be, you know, forget about the job, forget about, you know, what was going on in the world, your finances. It was, I'm going down to watch my team play, and I hope we're going to win. But that seems to have slightly kind of disappeared a little bit, I think, for a lot of fans of late. And I get your points. You're making some good points. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Ozzy. Do you think it's also to do with the fact that you can't really escape football at all at the moment? Like, it's just everywhere. Social media, everything you click on, you're just bombarded with news, and especially when you're not doing well. I think it's always worse. Like United, anytime I click on YouTube, there's always something negative. Someone's doing a rant about United. So it's hard to escape when your team's not doing well. I think is something that it's probably more prevalent nowadays than ever before.
It's the amount of crap that people put on social media.
Of course.
It's just not true, and it does go too far. Mind you, I did spend you know, an hour or so watching the United video about their woes. I laughed all the way through it. It was beautiful.
No, I think we've all done that probably at some points.
You know, Ozzy, I think football, you know, when I was a kid, certainly, you knew that 95% of the games were on a Saturday afternoon. You know, even in the top division, and even into into the 90s and stuff, you might have a Sunday game and a Monday game, but you didn't have 5 Sunday games, 5 Monday games. You didn't have all the games moved. So football was a lot cheaper. You know, I mean, my first season ticket was about £16 for a season for 20. Back in the good old days, for about 21 games.
In the early 1900s.
So season tickets were cheaper. You know, match tickets were cheaper and they were attainable. You knew the game was going to be a Saturday at 3:00, so you could kind of organise your life. Now, if you've got a family you want to go and watch City, I mean, you've got to put thousands and thousands and thousands away for the year to do it, because even if you might say, well, you can take a family of 4 and you're probably averaging, you know, the best part of £50 a ticket, £50 a ticket, but you then got to buy food, you got to park, you got to drive there, you've got to have the time, you've got to potentially, you know, organise this, that, and the other, because the games aren't, you know, might be only a third of the games at 3:00 on a Saturday, so you might have to stay late Saturday night, or go Friday night, or go Monday night, or go Sunday lunchtime, afternoon, evening. I mean, it's become logistically so hard. Whereas back in the day, people like, I'm just going to pop down Saturday afternoon. They didn't really have to think about it, you know. Pop down Saturday afternoon, and honestly, in some places, if you were a football fan rather than a mad fan about one team, you could just say, right, I'm going to pop out Saturday afternoon and go to a game, and you didn't even have to think till the morning. What game do I want to go and see?
The best part about
gone.
it, Rich, one of the best parts about it was you come out of main row and the game finished. Then you walk down Claremont Road all the way to Rush Hour and go in the Sheer Khan for a full banquet of an Indian restaurant. It was fantastic. You used to do it every week. It was great.
And the only city you got was pretty much a little bit in the newspaper each day and the pink final, which you'd either get Saturday night or you'd buy it again Sunday morning to get, and you get a lot of stuff from that. But there wasn't that, there was 5 or 6 pages in the paper. There wasn't football news 24 hours a day. I mean, that changed with Sky and the Premier League when all those football shows started to come on each day. But it's a radically different game, and I think if things weren't going well, then you were divorced from it for as Nick said, first 6.5 days till the next game. But now, if things are bad, you wake up, you got 17 texts, 5 WhatsApps. You can go onto 23 different pages and read about it, and everywhere you go, you're hit with just commentary messages.
Yep.
And people are a lot more dramatic nowadays as well. Losing a game isn't just losing a game, but nowadays it can become like blown up into something 1,000 times bigger.
Yeah. And obviously, I think, I've just saw one of Blue Heart's comments, saying that now that, City have become more global, compared to where they were probably back in the 90s, where it was just mainly the Manchester City, supporters in Manchester. Now, you have got a global fan base. You guys know that more than most because of obviously being in other countries.
Yeah, sorry, Ozzy. We've invaded.
No, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, I know that some people do, that there are the struggles between the new and the old fans. We've talked about it many times on this channel, but I mean, I see it as a positive because the more people that support City, the better. Everyone should have the chance to, watch City, no matter where we are in the league and no matter what's going on. If you support City, you support City.
I agree with that, but the one thing I don't really agree with is like I don't understand why the older and then the younger fans are clashing so much. I think it's, again, everyone's entitled to your own opinion. I don't think you really have to. Again, if you disagree with something, that's fine. But again, what's carrying on and arguing with each other really going to change? Like, at the end of the day, we're all City fans. We all want the best for the club. Like, no City fan is actively out here just being like, well, I want the club to fold. Like, everyone wants the club, to do the best they possibly can.
But you'll see it. You'll see. It does cause a lot of friction. I think one thing I've seen a lot of this season is Phil Foden causing a lot of friction among fans, and that's because to a lot of fans, he's a local kid. We've watched him come up through. We first heard about him when he was probably before he was 10 years old. He's come up through the team. He's been an exceptional player for us. And, he's had some challenges this season, off the pitch challenges. And, and then, you'll regularly see threads. There was about 3 yesterday. Oh, we should have kept Alvarez and sold Foden's, ruined the team. And you get things like that. And it does get you back up.
Palmer Foden one is another big one that I'm sick of seeing.
Yeah, it does get you back up. And it does cause friction amongst the fans because, there are things that are quite important to a lot of the supporter base, and there's a lot of loyalty to the players. And I think, I think you've seen it with the way Walker caused some huge arguments between the fan base this season. I think not that most fans didn't agree that he was coming to the end of his time at City and that his form had dropped off. And I think
the treatment of him.
Agree. Yeah. And I find it hard. And that isn't purely something new, because I remember, getting in a few quite heated arguments about Richard Edghill back in the day. because the way he was another lad who gave it all for City and had been a good player. He had some bad games, but he got treated abysmally by some fans, and so it's not just fans today. That is a phenomenon beyond local and international and young and old. It's something that's always been there, but the way some fans will behave when a player has a bad game or loses form is, I think, very hard.
There's a difference between criticizing a player and just blatantly going for almost a personal attack on a player.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people taking. There's a few people taking the piss on these comments. I know that.
No. Martin.
Listen, Martin is a big culprit for this.
No,
So
Alan. You missed.
No. Let me finish.
Oh yeah, you missed Mortal Kombat.
Listen, Martin's trying to wind me up. Foden at the moment, I don't want him to go leave the club, but he doesn't deserve to be in the team at the moment. He's playing one good game in 6, which is a fact. He is. Yeah. So
Alan, you and I have had this discussion almost weekly, haven't we?
Yeah, he's not consistent. He's just not at the moment. He's not consistent, and he doesn't deserve to be in the 11 at the moment. So
anyway, Alan, that's hello to people who've just come in. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Welcome. I don't know how much you've caught at the beginning of the show, so.
We were surviving Mortal Kombat on Pat's channel.
We're coming from Martin fighting the points. Because Martin and his old friend Carl, they met again, and we just let them go at each other. So I think Martin.
Did you?
Oh my God!
I must watch that.
It was intense at a point where I just brought my pin. I just sat there. I was like, no, this is. But anyway, thank you for having us here. I hope we haven't said much. What's the discussion? Is it still Foden?
No, I mean, I started the kind of talk about, kind of thinking about, because there's been a lot of negativity, especially this season. And I kind of started off saying that, I felt that we've forgotten about our achievements. We've forgotten about what we've done as a club. And compared to a lot of other clubs, we kind of we touched on Liverpool. We talked about as good as Liverpool have been this season, they're nowhere near 100 points. They've just been knocked out of the Champions League. They keep talking about a treble and quad, but we've done the domestic treble, the treble, 4 in a row, 100 points. And this is not a massive dig at Liverpool. It's just more about think about our achievements as a club and as a fan base, and what we've celebrated over the last few seasons, especially.
Yeah, people are quick to forget what we've done.
Yeah, but Ozzy, I said this earlier on when we were on my channel, and also Martin was there. I asked the panel, and I was like, I feel personally, I don't know if people agree with me. It's like I know I'm sounding like some people told me I'm sounding like a City salty fan, that I'm salty as a City fan, but I'm not. I just feel like the league is not as good, and we've been exposed that it's not as good by how our top team, Liverpool, who I thought were gonna walk the Champions League. But I was like, I've been deceived. The Giants just woke up. So Madrid have just woken up. PSG have woken up, and it looks like they're capable of beating Liverpool. And I think Liverpool have just taken advantage of a bad league. Like, look at Spurs. Spurs are at the bottom, and that's one of our big teams, our flag team. And then look at Chelsea, they're inconsistent. So the league is not that great. And let's be honest, I know Bournemouth are in good form, but I think Bournemouth have also just outrun the other.
I think it's Patrick. I think I differ with you on one thing. I think the top teams have dropped back. There's no question. City and nowhere. We're a fraction of last season. There's no question. Arsenal have dropped back, but I actually think the mid-table in the Premier League is stronger than it's ever. I don't think we've ever seen a Premier League where the likes of Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham, and those kind of teams in the middle of the Forest are as good as they are now. The tactical game, the quality of their players, the fitness, the speed that those teams have is incredible. But I do think the top teams have dropped back. I think the middle teams have figured out
caught up a little
way
bit
to play. they've become much more sophisticated. They've got much better tactics, coaching, medical science, scouting, and I think they've caught up a lot. And I think the top 3 teams, Liverpool have actually done well this year, but Arsenal and City have both been exposed this season.
Yep.
For pace, for energy, and for some key positions not being filled.
I think this.
So I half agree with you about the very top, but I don't agree about the league overall. And I do think the bottom 3 teams have been diabolical this year. Yep. So, it's almost like the top and the bottom have got worse, but the middle's got better.
I just think that gets into the kind of the main point of the title of discussion tonight that we can kind of get into now is that, that point of where we're at now in the league, currently sitting in 5th, is the teams around us, the virtually the points difference is negligible, and it's, the last show that we did, Martin was very positive that he sees us getting into that Champions League spot. I'm a little bit, we should be able to, we could at least achieve 5th, but we forget that, as Rich was saying, some of these teams that we said the lesser teams, the likes of Brighton, who we've got at the weekend, they're playing really well. They've got quality players.
They've won 4 of their last games, by the way, Brighton.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we have to kind of respect who's around us right now, and we have to respect that we're not at our best.
And it's probably guaranteed 5th, isn't it, tonight? After tonight's result, are we guaranteed 5th for the I think we probably are, because 5 of the English clubs have gone through, haven't they?
Yeah. Kelster, you haven't had much to say yet, so I want to bring you in. What are you thinking? How are you feeling about this?
About the Brighton game? Well, I think there is a template.
No, just generally with our positions, not just Brighton. It's just about the teams around us and about, your confidence about getting Champions League.
I am confident about Champions League because I have looked at our fixtures, and I think we should be beating those teams. Like, we should be beating Crystal Palace at home. I know we didn't last year, but we should be this year. And in regards to the Brighton game, like, I think there is a template that has worked a couple of times when Pep goes direct, like with Marmoush and Holland, like he did against Chelsea, like he did against Spurs, like he did against Newcastle. I think that can work this weekend against Brighton. So I think he should full send it. We're at home. We're at the Etihad. So he should use that formation because it has proven that it can get success. And I don't think that Brighton are going to show up to the Etihad with a low block. That just doesn't seem like their MO. So
yeah, they'll come out to play.
We're at home. Why not? What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
I personally think that we're back to the days where we don't know what Man City will turn up. Whether they're going to be good, bad, or indifferent. We just know, previously, that home game we're going to play the way we play, and we're going to get 3 points. But now I've got back to the stage of what team are going to turn up, and that's the way I felt for all season, to be honest with you. When Rodri went, everyone knows my opinion on that. I just thought we're in trouble, but it's a lot better since Gonzalez has come in.
He's made a big difference.
Yeah, and what is funny, when he took him off last week against Forest, suddenly we were more exposed and we were dropping off in defence. Hence the goal, and Guardiola backing off until the 6-yard box, which he didn't need to do. So it's a difficult one. There's a lot of players that are out of form. We've had a lot of injuries, a hell of a lot of injuries.
Some of these out of form players should be dropped.
Well, the problem is
Foden being dropped. He's not performing.
I agree. That's what I've said to you. He deserves to be dropped on the bench. But the problem is we haven't got players to come in now. Our depth team with injuries.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's who, Alan? Who? Because let's be honest, when Foden was subbed, you looked at the bench and who was on the bench. Did it really fill you full of confidence about was one player going to make a difference? Now, normally you would say Kevin De Bruyne, but again, hasn't been at his best. Marmoush is still settling into the squad, and you know, as good as he's been against Newcastle, that was the last.
Give him those minutes though, so he can develop.
Yeah,
he's not going to develop from the bench.
No, I appreciate that, Kelter, but at the same time, you are still expecting a new player to come in and suddenly be able to gel and suddenly be able to kind of dig it out of a hole. And I think that's a lot on a new player that's just coming into the side.
Can I mention one player though? Because I found out recently that this player actually, I know obviously people will say, oh, but that's the academy. I found out that this Nico O'Reilly kid, he's actually good at what he does. This goal scoring he did for us. Apparently, that's what he was doing when he was at the academy. Apparently, he's one of those guys that get into the box and score. I'm reaching at a point in time where is that your dog? Chris has got a cat.
Yeah, it's agreeing.
Rich's dogs.
Yeah. So I was about to say, I think we've reached a point where I know people are like, oh, if Foden goes to the bench, who plays? I think it's good for Foden to be stung a bit. I think it's good for KDB to have a bit of a game where it's like, so he's really paying Markety. I'm sorry. I just feel like we've reached a point where even if I see Markety as the number 10, I'm still going to just sit there like this. We've reached a point where just play somebody else, I think so, and let the other guy see that I'm not really... Because the thing about Foden, I think why he's getting more attack is the fact that every other player is getting the excuse of age. And then everybody is saying, but Foden is just 24 years old. But I feel bad for Foden because as bad as people might only think about age, don't forget that even mentally, you can be drained as a player. Because let's not forget, this is one of the warnings that were given to us by the pundits. Say, Foden is starting to play football while he's young. Is he going to get burnt out early? But let's not forget that he's also been in a dogfight all this time with this team. So as young as he is, he's also been part of this team fighting over and over. But I get it when people say, maybe it's time for you to step up. He did step up last season. But I think you'll never see Foden at his best unless you've got a very stable midfield. But all I'm asking is, maybe at this point, I'm just throwing Nico O'Reilly, throwing Acheveri, throwing somebody, because what we have to lose. But can I answer on the top four?
I'll play soon.
Am I the only one? Because I'm looking at the table. Who's so scared that we might end up flopping in this top four if we play around? Because looking at the table right now, right? Behind us is Newcastle with 47 points. We also got 47 points. Behind us is Brighton with 46 points. Aston Villa 45 points. Then Bournemouth are also going up there. Now we're playing Brighton. Let's say we fumble against Brighton and Crystal Palace are actually playing good football and they're very physical. Crystal Palace have caused us trouble when we're fit. Where is this confidence? Because I am saying the only chest I have is Southampton. Where are we getting this chest from? I'm asking the panel. Because I have a feeling that if we fumble around...
I'm with you, Patrick. I've got a sneaky feeling we'll end up finishing 6th this year.
I'm just saying it can happen. I know some people say a bit negative, but Alan might be right.
To be fair, every season where we're not 10 points clear with 4 games to go, Alan's predicted we're going to miss out on the Champions League.
No, but
he had a bet with me. I think it was in 16-17 season. He'd shave his head if City got into the Champions League, as he was so certain we wouldn't, and he still hasn't done that. 7 or 8 years later, I'm still waiting for him to shave his head. Because he bet City wouldn't make top 4, and I said,
I think this one he would win though, Rich. I think this one. Yeah. Look, I'm just saying, looking at that table, with the way sometimes we're fumbling around, it's the teams around us. You know, the thing about this is, even Ozzy just said the teams around us are so close. That's what I'm scared about. Like, they're so close. It's not even that it's a 5-point gap. It's actually a 1-point gap, 2-point gap. So they will just get you, and we can end up 7th. By Saturday. That's what I'm scared of. I just hope we don't, because look, I wouldn't mind winning the Europa. Oh, that's what I'm saying.
It's in Istanbul next season, apparently.
Well, let's go back there and
Europa League. Let's go to the Europa League and get back to Istanbul.
I wouldn't mind winning the Europa.
Listen,
we don't have that trophy yet.
We know for a fact. Yeah. We know for a fact that if we don't get Champions League football, it's not the end of the world. Don't get me wrong, I want to be in the Champions League. But Liverpool were out of the Champions League a season and a half ago. Do you know what I mean? We have to remember that they were able to go out.
Don't forget Chelsea and Arsenal. Chelsea and Arsenal. Yeah.
Well, exactly. And also,
don't ask Arsenal fans about that.
being at a Champions League for one season, I don't think will ultimately hurt us that much. I think we can still go and get the targets we want in the summer. Do you know what I mean? We want to be in it, of course we do. But I think for one season, if we were out of it, I think it wouldn't be the end of the world, because I think we've got to remember that we're in a bit of a rebuild right now. There's a potentially we're going to be letting a lot of old players go, and we're going to be bringing in new, fresh players, and they've got to gel, and we've got to give it time. And I think that sometimes what we're forgetting is that because we're really and truly letting it go of the spine of our team, that it may take a season or two to get back up to where we want to be.
Yep, very true. But it also depends on a certain 115 case.
Well, we're not going to get onto 115 too much tonight, Alan, because like I said, I want to try and keep this a bit more positive, and we know about 115 and we'll come back to it, I have no doubt, in the next few weeks.
All
so
right.
Let's keep it to where we want tonight, more positive. Yeah? You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. And Richards is smirking there.
Yeah, you don't want to start me on. No,
Rich, we really don't.
Oh, dude, that's going to be a fire stream. I'm calling in sick that day.
Wait, Alan, is this true?
Available for every stream.
Alan, is this true? Martin says you wanted Pep sacked in the first season.
He's bollocks.
He said it.
Yeah, he is. He's trying to wind me up. He's in bollocks.
Now, Alan, I actually disagree with that. I think you did.
No, I did not. And
Alan, I remember at that point, and you were very much still very on the edge of the bull fraud.
Nothing will take my Mancini love away, because I've got pictures of him around my desk here, all fully signed photos. I love Mancini. Love him. And have him back. But listen, if Pep left, I'd have him back tomorrow. I'll be honest with you.
Nah, he was a drummer, man. That thing with Balotelli, the way he used to handle it was just weird. I remember, like, him and Balotelli, I was like, what's going on? Like, sometimes he would let him off with things. Do you remember when we went for preseason and Balotelli did that back heel? And I was like, come on. And then look, there used to be players that deserved to play that time, and Mancini still went to Balotelli. I know Balotelli was on fire, but another manager was going to discipline him a certain way, but Mancini seemed like he loved Balotelli so much. He did.
There you go. The man himself.
Look, he has a picture. Yeah,
on the wall. And there's one there as well.
Nah, there's no way. I don't know. Ozzy, would you have him back? I don't think I would have him back now. Mancini.
No, I think that time in our history is done. So
he's not even a club manager these days. He's international.
International. Last time I heard.
I'm turning this game off. Terrible.
What game are you watching?
The United game.
Well, then you are watching a terrible game.
Awful. It was going okay, and then Sociedad melted down. So now I have nothing on. Boo, United.
So
boo.
We need all the English teams to win anyway, because we need that 5th place being for the Champions League.
Oh, is that why people are watching the United game? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's why they're on.
Yeah, United's on. It was a tight aggregate. Now United's winning 4-1, so it's like a 3. They're up 3 in the aggregate.
Yeah, there we go.
I guess Spurs are 2-2. I have somebody messaging me. I don't even know. I don't know. I have somebody giving me intel, but
I don't know how people do that. I blank out. I don't like United. I don't care anymore. I used to care at a point in time when at least they were on the down. For now, I don't care anymore. Spurs, I don't care anymore. Chelsea, I don't anymore. I don't know. I just lost it now. I used to watch them just to laugh at them, but now the laughing is done.
Oh, Spurs are up. Spurs are up, so that's good. That'll help. That'll help the coefficient.
Wait. Are you guys supporting these teams for the fact of 5th, for City to get 5th?
No, I wanted United to lose. I was supporting Sociedad because of David Silva, even though he's no longer on the team. And I hate United, so it was kind of a hate along in the background.
Look at it. Ozzy's like, I wouldn't even watch United to get that 5th spot. I'd rather sacrifice that 5th spot.
Yeah, I'd rather there not be a 5th spot.
I'm totally with you, Patrick. Totally with you.
Oh yeah,
I want United to get eliminated, even if it means losing the 5th spot, because I just hate them so much.
Yeah. I think it's a waste of watching it.
United are irrelevant. United are irrelevant.
Yeah, so
really
Spartacus said.
You've got to look at what City. You've got to look at City and what's in City's interest. And United are just, nowadays they're not relevant. They're building a circus tent.
Rich, though, if we go away to United and lose, I think I'm going to lose it. Because I lost it when they beat us at home. I think
the worst loss of the season for me.
No, please, no. If we go to United and lose, I think that's it for me.
I hate those unnice names.
But do we feel that we're in a better place to beat United than where we were when we lost to the last?
We do have a DM. That should help. That should help. I feel like Amarim has kind of gotten the best of Pep in 2 games this season, so I'm a little nervous. Hopefully third time is not a charm.
Though I can ask you this, that game at the Etihad, was it the fact that he got the bit of a pep, or it's just we had mistakes?
That was mistakes. Yeah, Nunes had a disaster class at the end. And Yoshko. I love Yoshko. I think he's been our best player this season, but he was bad on that second goal.
I have to drop now, so night all.
Right. Good night, Rich. Thanks for being on, mate.
And, I'll substitute Nick back in.
Yeah.
Wait, is Nick in the background?
Waiting too. Let Luke in.
Yeah, Nick is back now. He'll be back in a sec.
I've got to drop in 5 minutes because I've got work I need to do, mate.
All right, fair enough.
Wait, Alan, let me ask you, did you make it to work that day when you were doing the stream?
When? Yesterday?
Yeah. I was like, because the stream went longer. You said you're going to stay there for a short while. Then I was like, I'm going to ask Alan, did you make it to work in time? Because you were dressing up.
I started the show at 5 a.m., if you remember. And I went straight from, as soon as I finished here, I jumped on a tram, which only takes 20 minutes to get to the office.
There he is.
I jumped in there. I went to work. So I did a full day's work yesterday. I was tired last night. And I must admit.
What's the time difference between Melbourne and Perth?
This is only a 3-hour difference.
Oh wow, is it that big?
Yeah.
I was just on a cruise, and all the best friends I made on the cruise are from Australia. Girl from Perth, Alyssa, shout out. Yeah, she's listening.
It's a 4.5 hour. It's a 4.5 hour flight to Perth from Melbourne. But coming the other way from Perth to Melbourne, it's only 3.5 because the wind goes straight across Australia, and that's what takes the plane quicker. So
that's a big country. It's like as big as the United States. Yeah. I flew from Sydney to Cairns, and I couldn't believe how long the flight was. I was like, this looks so short on the map, and it was like a 4-hour flight or something.
It's a very, very big country.
Oh, wait. In the same country, you had a 4-hour flight.
It's a 4.5 hour flight to Perth from Melbourne. But then when you come from Perth to Melbourne the other way, it's only 3.5 hours because the wind goes straight across the country. So
because the globe is like doing this, so it's shorter.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm on a train going from the north to like London, it can take me 4 hours. So I'm right there with you guys. Totally right there with you. Yeah, I know how it feels. That's the train actually turns up. So,
I live in the biggest conundrum state. Nevada literally takes 8 hours to drive across, but it's like if I was to fly from where I live to Salt Lake City, it's an hour. If I was to drive, it'd be like 9 hours.
I would not drive for 9 hours.
I've done that, Kelsey. It's not a pleasant trip.
What are you driving 9 hours? I wouldn't do
anyway,
I haven't done it yet. I don't want to.
Just want to.
I'm just gonna fly.
Nick for coming back on and coming back on in person. Nice to see you. And obviously you've got Luke as well. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Obviously, it's.
I'll say goodbye with all these guys around.
Bye, Alan.
Nick, I'll speak to you later on, probably.
Sounds good, mate. We'll have a chat.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Look, I don't know how much of the show you've caught already. So, have you been able to catch from the beginning, or you coming in?
I've been in and out, but I've been sort of watching the background, so I don't know what you guys are on about. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing is obviously with like regards to like Europe and that and top four, it's just it's just down to the form really. And I think before the Forest game, I actually want us to see if we go on an unbeaten run. Not asking for like constant win, just we can sort of draw, get some form. But I think the Forest game to me kind of just showed not necessarily defensively. At the back, we're actually a lot better than we used to be. We used to be a lot terrible, more terrible than that. I'm fine defensively. I think just going forward creatively, we look so out of it. Like, and one thing about City, it used to be a lot better than most teams was creating chances, and you don't necessarily scoring, but you were getting chances in the game to at least give opportunity. But you can just see it's just not clicking right. It isn't clicking, or it's not consistently clicking. Like Newcastle was a great example when it doesn't click well or playing at the right level. But I think Pep doesn't help himself either not playing a consistent team. Like I said it on Pat's show before we came on air. Marmoush, Haaland, and I haven't been together a lot anyway. Obviously, it's been like more like on the bench or either been injured. Whatever. It has been a consistent couple of games where we've seen both of them playing together a lot more. So I'm just thinking, could Pep just maybe start playing a more consistent team in the league games? FA Cup's different, obviously. That depends on we want to go there. Start playing a consistent team, build that chemistry, and see what happens. Because they've got last 10 games. Do you know what I mean? Because if we can win the last 10, or at least get mostly wins, you know, make sure we get because it's all about getting that form into the Club World Cup and after that into next season. That's what it is. It's all about getting into next season and just making sure that we've got the consistency ready to go again. Obviously, when the new players come in, but I just want to see a bit better consistency going forward. Really, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more, Luke, in a lot of respects. I do feel, I mean, I know Pat was earlier on talking about kind of Foden, but I think, you know, before Foden was taken off in the Forest game, I actually think he was starting to find his rhythm in the game. And I think a lot of pressure's been put on Foden, especially because of what he did last season. You know, he stepped up in a big way, especially when Kevin De Bruyne was injured for most of that season. And I think we're forgetting what Foden can do. Yes, he's not had the best of season. You know, I will call him out on that. You know, but I still think I would rather have him in the game, in the 11, because we know most times he will turn up. You know, he will be able to pull off something. He will. And we have to look at the midfield right now, and the midfield isn't brilliant. He's been the most consistent player in that midfield this season. You know, he's had to deal with the injuries and the other players that have not been good enough around him, you know. So that's I think we need to give him a bit of slack, you know. I think we need to kind of remember that Pep is now bringing in some of the new players, you know. Kushner, for example, he's bringing in the new players that he's going to be bringing into next season that we're going to be seeing more of. The likes of Gundo, the likes of Kovacic, the likes of Kevin De Bruyne even, you know, are probably not going to be there. Do you know what I mean? So he needs to keep that consistency to the end of the season, and we need to see these players. So for me, I think there is a good chance that we do get top 4 or top 5, whatever it's going to be, but we need to keep that consistency. We need to keep these players involved because they're going to be here next season. We can't just forget that.
I'm not even asking, Ozzy, for like 4-0, 5-0. I'm asking for like a bit of like cohesion where, as a team, where you can see a consistent team that Pep wants to go with. I get it's not going to be ideal. Ideally, we want better than this, but as Martin said before, and I said before, you won't fix it this season. You can try to. You can definitely try to sort of get better yourself. That's possible. But the reality is you aren't going to make those fixes right now. That's where the summer comes in. When players can come out, players come in, that you start the squad and also the backroom stuff as well. Because I think the backroom stuff is going to be a real key to it as well. Because I think Ligo for me doesn't challenge when Pep does decisions. I think still we want about Arteta, but Arteta actually challenged Pep.
And Maresca.
Well, actually, Luke, there has been some news that has been shared with us on the channel that actually there is going to be a big shake-up in the backroom staff for next season. There is going to be potentially a new set-piece coach. There's potentially going to be a new fitness person as well, and the likes of assistant coach may change as well. So I think, you know, Pep has seen that he probably does need to not only refresh the squad, but he also needs to refresh the people around him who help him make those big decisions.
Everything, yeah, because it's gone a bit stale, and it happens when
has.
you're a winning team, right? And you win so much. At some point, some players will still want to be here and keep fighting more trophies at Haaland and other players as well. But some are just their heads are obviously gone now. I want to move on, which is pretty fun. In the working world, it happens as well. Let's say you don't have a job, it's not anymore, move on somewhere else. It happens. So I just sort of a bit of a refresh. I think for me this summer, it's why I'm fully back in Pep still. Because don't be wrong, I get people questioning about the lineups now as well, but I still trust him to have that chance with a fresh people behind him, a fresh team next year with new players coming in. I trust him to turn it around because he's done it before like 3 times already, like Centurions, the Thunder one, False Night, and Haaland as well on treble season. He's done it 3 times. So at least
I think he's doing more than that, Luke. If we're really honest, I think Pep has revolutionised so many different things in this league.
Yeah.
In his managerial career, he's done so much. So I do agree with you. I think he's earned the right to have an off season as well as the players, and I think it's not only from the players, it's not just from the manager. I think it's from the club and her hierarchy. I think they've kind of slept on the laurels a little bit. We've talked about it previously before about how they've not prepared properly, how they've not thought about bringing in more players last summer. Maybe the summer before that. And refreshing the squad then. So I think you do give Pep and these players more time. And you give them next season to show what they can do again. That's
what I want. I want to compete next year. I'm not that people say you want winning trophies. Well, trophies you have to earn. You can't just go and assume you're going to get it because you're a good team. I want to see us playing where we enjoy football again. Where we feel like I've got a bit of chest on it. I can come and sort of say we're going to beat teams. Right now, I'm not so sure where we are right now, so I can't have that. I want to be confident in the team again. That's what I want to get confidence. I want to be enjoying it. Look, results obviously it's great when you win games, but I think trophies wise, I'm more of a you earn them when you play really well. That's why I've always seen it as. So we can get back to a point where we're enjoying our football again as a start. So.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's why I started off the show with saying that for me, we've kind of fallen out of love with football. Some of us, especially City fans of late, because of what's been going on, and I think the positivity has kind of gone, that kind of love for everything that we've come to love and what we've done and achievements, like I said before, about 4 in a row, the treble, the 100 points, the domestic treble, all these things we seem to have forgotten right now. Let's not forget. I want to move on to something else now, unless any of you have got anything you want to say before I do.
No, we've said enough. I think we've said enough. Trust me, I don't want to get into it again. We as I said, we had a Martin versus Carl, me and Lucas. So we don't.
That was Mortal Kombat.
I know. So
we've
had enough of this. So we go ahead, Ozzy, change it wherever you change it.
Thank you very much, Pat. I appreciate it.
That was Scorpion versus Sub-Zero. That's what that was. Finish him.
So what I want to get on to next is talk about transfers, but we're going to do a proper transfer show during the international break. But one of the things I wanted to kind of touch on is just looking at what's kind of been doing slightly the media rounds a little bit over the last few weeks is kind of looking at the kind of English quota. Now, this is something that I don't think a lot of City fans have paid that too much attention to. We've mentioned it a few times on the channel, but I think we've just not really kind of in depth. We are potentially going to lose more of our English quota in the summer. We've got Carl Walker, possibly McAtee as well leaving, Grealish. There are a number of players that could be going, and then we've got to think about. We need to start replacing them because we can't just have, all foreign players. It just doesn't work that way in the Premier League. We have to have them.
I have a theory.
Okay, we'll come to your theory, Kel. We will.
My theory is, I think Viana will start integrating the academy players, and that will be our homegrown quota. Because that's what he's used to. That's his MO. That's what he did at Sporting. And I think he's going to bring
Sporting
that.
is a very much different club compared to Manchester City, girls.
I still think he's going to push to keep the good guys. Like this Musaka guy, I think he's going to push to keep him.
He may do, but I don't think
is it
you
Musaka
can really
or
build.
I'm really bad at the names. I'm sorry. I don't watch. I just listen to the Twitter chatter. But I think he's going to push to keep these.
Is that Divine? Is that Divine? What's his name? Divine?
Yeah, Divine Mikasa.
Musaka, I think his name is. He's like he's like a number 10.
It's not Greek dish. It's a player. Mikasa.
Is that his name? Musaka? Oh my god. I'm
it's not Musaka.
Wait. I'm gonna look this up. I'm gonna look this up.
But don't you think we're already integrating the youngsters?
I think he's going to be more of it, though.
I don't think you can.
He's not EDS yet, by the way. So I think it's a bit.
Divine Mukasa, that one. I'm hearing Twitter's going crazy for the guy, so.
I think we have to be very careful about what Twitter says right now. In all honesty,
I think we've skipped a generation, though. I think we sold off all the good people, and then there's another guy, Gorman, who's supposed to be he's young. He's like 16, so he's got a few years.
Pay guys though. They're good players, but I want to be bringing them in over time, not desperately bringing them in.
No, I mean in the next 2 to 3 seasons when they're 18.
Yeah, you're right. But everyone else wants them in now. Like we got to just hold tight about that. Like give them a bit of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you just have to kind of respect us that we're not Porto, we're not one of these Portuguese teams. They've done that for decades. They've been able to bring in through a lot of their youth. We've taken a lot of their youth. A lot of the Premier League teams have taken a lot of their youth. But when you get to this point where we're at now, you do have to bring in players from other clubs or other countries. It doesn't happen that way. I think a lot of people would love that, and we've talked about it so many times on the show how we just love to throw the kids in. But realistically, it just doesn't happen for various reasons that I don't want to try and get into too much tonight. I want to kind of get on to bringing in those first team players if that's what we need to do. I mean, one of the chats has been over the last few days since the Liverpool and PSG game has been the way PSG have brought in. They've gone away from the Galactico signings and they've brought in some really good, young talent, hungry, and talked about their pace, their skill. And
I was going to say just the energy in the midfield, for sure.
Yeah, and that's been talked about with City, in the respect of we've lost that energy, we've lost that pace, especially in the midfield. So I want to talk about that from an English point of view because that's the thing I want to talk about tonight is the English players that we've been linked with, and maybe if you guys can think of some others. I've got 3 players that I think in the summer, these are the players where I think we could be looking at. And one of the players is Adam Wharton.
That's a baller. That's a baller.
Yeah. Livramento at Newcastle.
Oh, that's going to be so expensive.
Well, again, this is what we're talking about because we know when it comes to having English or British players, they come with, especially English players, they come with a bit of a price tag.
Bit of a premium, yeah.
And I do think one of the things that
City did Jedi Robinson on the cheap.
One of the things that City did when they took over, one of the things that Sheikh Mansour and the club did when they came in to take over City is they wanted to learn at least one big thing from Man United is they wanted to kind of bring in young English talent. They wanted to sign the best young English talent they could.
But they keep rejecting us.
Yeah, and it's something that I think we've not done for a good few seasons. We've let other young English talent. I think Archie Gray, who went to Spurs. Those are the type of players we've kind of let go. Yeah, and we were scouting them. We had eye on them, but we've let them disappear. Like Livramento is another one who went to Newcastle a couple of seasons ago, and I think we were scouting him, especially when he was at Southampton, playing at left back, and he was someone we thought could do a job, but we didn't pull the trigger. And I just think now we're looking at we need to replace some of these.
We were also looking at Maddison. Remember Maddison, I think so. And then
Bellingham, Declan Rice, they're both English and they were homegrown and they rejected us.
Yeah.
They didn't reject us, though. I don't think.
Yes, they did.
I don't think.
That's why they're at Real Madrid and Arsenal, not at Man City.
Hey, Ozzy, who was your third name that you had as well? Sorry.
So my third name was Liam Delap, and for a couple of reasons. Because one, I think possibly we still may need a backup to Haaland, because I think even though we've got Omar in, he's not a direct replacement. Do you know what I mean? He's good, but I can see him playing more with Haaland than actually playing and replacing him. So I still think there's a shout where if we've got a big guy like Haaland, then maybe having someone like a Liam Delap come in and being the backup. I know Martin's going to come in here and probably slaughter me, maybe, but the other reason I would also think about this is even if it's not to bring him in as a backup, I still think activating that release clause and buying him back and then maybe cheekily trying to have that conversation and say, listen, spend a season here with us, be Haaland's backup. You're going to play games, but you're also going to show what you can do even more in a top team, playing under a top manager. So you stay with us for a season and then we'll see how you feel at the end of that season. And then maybe we'll sell you on, or maybe you stay. Who knows? But I would at least, if we're not going to do that, I would bring him back, because I just think sell him on, because we're only going to get the sell on clause. We're only going to be getting a small percentage. So I'd bring him back and sell him to the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal for a big fee. Because why not?
Yeah.
Do we think
I'm sorry to
jump
in
for the keeper?
I know, Martin. Ozzy, you're right. Martin is coming to slaughter you.
Can't help it. Really
I'm sorry to jump in, but you mentioned homegrown, so I thought, oh, my cup of tea. There's some chumwag. No, I'm only joking. Yeah, put my dad to bed. I do apologise. Yeah, no, carry on. I mean, Ozzy, you're hosting. I'm just guest tonight. No, the homegrown thing's fine. I get it. McCaskey, everything. He's played about a game or two for the EDS. He's not coming into the first team. There's no way he's coming in. I get people on it. I think people have gone too OTT. They've gone OTT on the academy. This is the thing. With an academy player, it's not. Rico Lewis was only in because of the Cancelo situation. Everyone forgets this. Because Cancelo dropped a bollock, we had to bring in Rico Lewis. Because again, the window wasn't open.
Before the bollock got dropped, though.
Not really. Not really. He wasn't really in at all.
Well, wasn't it Rico playing all those games that caused Cancelo to do what he did?
He came in for the game or two. He was being watched. Because people forget, Pep looks at the academy players all the time. They actually train with the first team. They do train a lot with the first team. So he does see it. I get people are craving for it. But a rebuild is not your academy. A rebuild is going out spending hard-earned cash. If you're trying to bring in a Florian Wirtz, and by the way, the deal looks, in principle, the problem is you've got to convince Wirtz more than convince Leverkusen. Leverkusen want McAtee. You're willing to let McAtee
Martin, if you give me hope again, I'll come after you.
No, I've always said it. It's not.
Martin, June, you told me 97%.
No, I didn't.
Bruno is 98%.
Excuse me.
I trust Rihanna to do both. I trust him to do the £100 million signings and to do the academy. I trust him to do
he's already done that though, Kelsa.
Stop. Martin,
I'm giving him credit. I trust him to do both.
No, I appreciate you are, but we're not here to talk about Wirtz tonight. As much as I'm sure some people will. Maybe
I'm using Wirtz as an example of it.
I know. That's why I want to stick to your example, Martin. Let's not get too much into.
It's not Wirtz. It's not let's get all excited over Wirtz. I'm using
the club to convince him.
The thing is, Kelster, Ozzy's right. Biana's not at Sporting anymore. He's at Manchester City. He's dealing with a whole different kettle of fish here. You're dealing with a budget he's never had. He didn't have this budget at Sporting. They've not brought him in to do a Sporting project at Manchester City.
I can still see him doing a little bit of that, though. But I also trust him to make the big signings. That's all
what Kushinov is. Kushinov and Victor Hayes, you're going to be a young one.
Those are Viana signings all the way.
Yeah. He's not going to bring in
and Juma.
He's not going to. It's like Jamal Simpson-Pouza. It was everyone is happy with youngsters until they mess up. because this season we're looking for answers. So everyone goes, right, everyone's old. So now let's go to the youngsters. That's fine. Then when the youngsters drop the ball, everyone wants the youngsters out. I'm one of these, I've always said it, if people are bringing in youngsters to properly do an academy rebuild, then I'm fine for it. But then your expectations have to go down. Nobody's going to do that.
Just jumping on that, Martin, I do think it is people are just scarred by the whole Cole Palmer thing. He was, again, academy player, came through, did really well at another club, but look, that's a 1 in 10 scenario. A lot of other top prospects have left and are kind of just, they're doing all right, but they're not at the top level.
City would rather go and buy a youngster who is like a Kushner, like a. I'm trying to think of an example. Like a Victor Hayes, who's going to come in and play football.
Echeverria.
Yeah.
Savinho.
That was a Tiki signing.
I think also is
Adam Wharton is one that's been on the list for a very, very long time. Adam Wharton's always been there.
Yeah. I think also with the academy, you have to look at the academy. Only a couple of seasons ago, the academy had been basically, most of the big players had been sold off. Okay. And there was a couple of seasons where the academy weren't doing well at all. They've had to rebuild the academy. They really have. So just because a couple of names are starting to appear doesn't mean they're all of a sudden ready to start playing.
Yeah, I think they're like 2 years down the line. That's what I've heard.
Maybe even more, Kels. I think you have to be realistic with the academy. The other thing you have to remember is that Chelsea have gone through this a few times.
I'm getting in trouble now, Ozzy. Sorry, guys, I've just had a WhatsApp. Why have you revealed that? I'm getting in trouble.
But also, we can also say this. Do you know why I'm not even hyped about this Divine kid? Look, I've watched him and I know he's good. You know why I'm not hyped? I still believe our best academy didn't make it. And as soon as that group didn't make it, you know what? I asked Martin. I was the academy guy. I asked Martin. I was the academy guy. I knew names.
Yeah, and then you kill him.
But you know what, Martin? As soon as Lavia, Idozi, Mbete, that group, as soon as that group didn't make it, I just gave up and said, you know what? I don't think anybody. This is just me. Also, let's be honest. I think that was our best academy team. That was full of talent. The Lavias, the Mbetes, the Palmers. Those guys were it. Even Idozi, I feel bad for him that after he got injured at Southampton, they dumped him somewhere. But that team was just incredible. Even when they came into our preseason, their quality was not all that bad. So as soon as that group didn't make it, Pablo Maffeo even broke my heart. Actually, I just gave up and put my hands up and said, you know what? Going forward, I think most of the academy, sometimes there's a big gap. I think whoever makes it out of the academy, it has to be like Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob, I think, is that good. At the point where even rival fans tell me that
on that part,
sell him.
People got to realise Manchester City, this is where they are like Real Madrid. This is the only Real Madrid comparison I will use. We are the final destination. We're not the stepping stone. We are the final destination. So, for example, Morgan Rogers wasn't quite ready for our first team. He goes away. He makes a great career for himself at Villa. Now City look at him in a different light. Now you go, yes, it's all right going, but we had him. But he wasn't the same player. Because he wasn't getting... Because with all due respect, the expectations at Villa are very different to Manchester City. Yes, Villa are trying to get there, but it's a different stratosphere, for example. So you go away, you build yourself up. Palmer's different because he's gone to Chelsea, he's gone to another huge club who have ambition. I know Villa do, I'm just talking, but people leave Villa to go to Madrid. Yeah, they go to City, they go to Arsenal. You don't leave City to go to Villa. You sort of, that's all I mean by it, with due respect. People, I think we've also got to be a bit shrewd. So you look at someone like Aina, who's a free in the summer, who's a very good left back, but then you get, he's 28, 29. We've become a bit ageist to where 28, 29 is suddenly an old cog now, who's, put out back and shot. Aina on the free would do a great job for 3 years. He would do, and it's a free
I'd love him in, man.
You've also got to be a bit shrewd in the market as well. We're not just going to blow 80, 90 million on every single signing that walks in the door. We've also got to be a bit shrewd with it.
This comes back to my point of what we were discussing about the English quota.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because we
yes,
it's in the room.
Especially with the ones going out, Ozzy.
Yeah, because there are going to be a number of, and the thing is like with someone like Adam Wharton, I think he's going to be, he's other clubs are looking at him, and especially I think if what happens, what I think will happen in the international break and into the international competitions is that, he'll be looked at seriously by England, to play, and then if he gets to the international stage, other clubs will start thinking, let's go for him. He has got quality. So the likes of Liverpool, even the likes of Real Madrid have even looked at him, because they can see that he's can be a top quality player. So I think if we want to bring him in, then we're going to have to pull the trigger a little bit.
How much are you paying for him, though? I think you're paying over 80 million. I think Crystal Palace rate him. They rate him highly. I saw the interview by the manager.
Yeah.
They think he is. Yeah.
They do. They and I think maybe it's something, as Martin was saying, you've got to be shrewd, you've got to be smart. Maybe you're like the looks of McAtee maybe goes the other way. Do you know what I mean?
What if McAtee goes somewhere else?
That is great leverage. If they want him, we should be using that as good leverage.
No,
but we can't go because of Palmer. We can't feel like McAtee go and he does it somewhere else.
I think it's clear.
We can't live like that.
Yeah. Martin, let go, Martin, let go.
No, but we can't live in fear of these academy players doing well somewhere else.
If you have a chance to get Florian Wirtz and use McAtee, I say 100% do it. My opinion.
That's what I mean. So where's the love for the academy now? It's not the love of the academy. It's because we're in a bit of a problem and people are just, it's old. Let's give them a go. If we were top of the league by 10 points, I mean, someone made a great point. I can't remember who it was. You look at our bench when we won the treble. There was no youngsters hardly on the bench.
Experience.
Yeah. Mahrez on the Foden.
Mahrez on the bench, Foden on the bench. This is where we were at. That's where we need to get back to. What we've done for the last 2 years for me, and this is the biggest mistake, we have sold too many first-team players and brought in and replaced them with squad players.
Not enough quality.
Yes,
I've been saying that for
our only good signing since the treble was Yashko and Savio.
And I don't.
The other ones have been good enough.
And it's
not counting this January. January, I'm very impressed with January.
It's because people are desperate to try and fix it now.
You're never going to fix it.
I love that guy.
Oh, by the way, Ozzy, can I just give you a quick stat, by the way, because I know everyone's melting down, but I didn't know this till I looked earlier. Out of the last 10 Premier League games, we won 6 of them.
Yeah.
So we've actually won 60% of our last 10. We are the 3rd top goal scorers in the league. So for all this doom and gloom, we're not. So there has been an improvement, and that's all I've asked for since January is an improvement, and we've improved. Yeah. We've won 60% of our last 100%.
The thing is, Martin. People thought those 4 players. Not everyone on this panel did that, but I'm saying, but people will thought those players to fix us, but it wasn't happening at all. Wasn't going to happen at all. It's going to help us, not fix us.
And it's still not good enough. I agree, because we were at 80-90%. We have dropped. I agree, but from where we were in October, November, it's a massive improvement, and that's all you can ask for.
Nico has made a huge difference.
Yeah,
Kushinov
and so has the defense. Kushinov has been amazing.
I'm telling you, Victor Hayes is going to get his chance soon. I think he's playing Premier League minutes very soon.
I'm on his time.
The club are going to be ruthless. Yeah. And Ozzy spot on. We have to be careful with the homegrown because you get Grealish out, people on Stones out, Walker's going out, Calvin Phillips. I think we'll go back to Leeds United. Hence, on they get promoted. People want McAtee out. You've got to get because you can only have 17 out of 25.
There's also Scott Carlson as well.
Carlson.
There is quite a few English players that potentially could leave, and this is why I wanted to spend the last hour of this to kind of talking about English players. And I know we all love a good foreign player, and we love the likes of Wirtz and the hype train on Wirtz. I'm there, but I really want to nail you guys down tonight onto the English quota side. So I've named 3 players that I do think are on my list of players that I think we should be looking at in the summer to replace some of these players. You know, I do think the likes of Adam Warnock is someone who I feel that he really, you know, he's for me, he's the type of player where I think he's the assist before the assist. Do you know what I mean? He's really good at that. I think his ball skills are excellent. If anyone who's watched him, you know, a lot of his
technical abilities,
teammates think he's amazing on the ball. They felt so much better with him in the squad after his injury. So for me, he's probably lacking in the respects of assists and goals potentially. But I think that's something that can come with being in a, no offense to Crystal Palace, but more of an established quality team, you know, under a quality top manager. Do you know what I mean? So for me, he's someone I definitely think we should go for in the summer.
I think there's somebody we're missing also. We're missing somebody like him. And
I was going to say, Ozzy, what about throw in, again, we were just chatting about him, Morgan Rogers. If Jack goes the other way, potentially, but I know that's a very expensive kind of option.
What about?
Not bad.
Can I throw you a name, Ozzy?
Go on, Martin. You can throw me.
Go for it, Martin.
Morgan Gibbs-White.
No.
Oh, you've upset Pat.
No, that's Pat out. That's Pat out straight away. Pat's gone.
Do you know the thing about Gibbs-White? Gibbs-White is one of those that they look good. You know this thing where somebody looks good in a small pond, big fish in a big pond, in the big pond. Big fish.
Ooh, Nottingham Forest. You heard that? You heard him say Nottingham Forest for a small fish. You heard him say
no. But no. I just feel like getting a Gibbs-White. Yeah, inviting that thing where he comes here and he doesn't look great and we've just got somebody else. I don't know. It's just me. I just feel I used to see him when they're saying, oh, he's going to Spurs. I used to say that maybe that's where he belongs. But I think at City, I see Adam, even Adam from Crystal Palace, I think he can even play a number 10 because he used to be a number 10. Do you remember what he had an interview where he says, the reason why I know how to pass the ball to a number 10 is because I used to be a number 10 and I know how to receive the ball. And then his manager said, this kid, and when I watched the game, I was like, oh my God, this kid is like an English KDB. By the way, some people will be like, oh, is this the KDB? Like the way he was passing the ball and the way he knows how to I'm telling you, you should watch him. Just watch him. The way he was passing the ball, and Crystal Palace now have started playing him more forward. I think he's better than Gibbs-White. And Gibbs-White, I think you're just getting somebody who you end up having a Calvin Phillips. I don't know, it's just me. It's the same as Calvin.
I can see where you're coming from, Pat.
Florian Wirtz would be, I guess, the top choice, and then Gibbs-White probably, kind of that level or two below.
That's what I'm saying, both. I'm not saying one or the other there, by the way.
You're saying
Rodri and Gibbs-White meet in the locker room.
Oh, yeah.
Also, it does help that Phil Foden's best mates with Gibbs-White.
All I'm saying is,
that's true.
I'm trying.
I forgot about that.
Trying to.
Isn't he like the
trying to improve the squad depth?
Godfather, of his.
Wait. So, but Nick, this is what I'm trying to say is, I know we're going forward like this, but I don't know. I just feel like even a player like Gibbs-White now will start asking that I want to play because it's the same thing as he will want to play because he was the number 10 at Forest, and when he comes here, you'll be like, why am I on the bench? But is he worth the hassle? I don't think.
I personally don't see it, but again, it's an option. It's an option.
Yeah, and that's what I want to look at tonight. Again, his options. They don't have to be ultimately the right and 100%, but I do, because some of the English players are not all going to come in. Do you know what I mean? We are, but this is just looking at holes that we're potentially going to have going into next season and beyond, and where some of the English talent that we know is out there that possibly could come in. Because also, I want to look at positions as well, because the likes of Jack going means we're going to possibly need to bring someone in to replace Jack. Is that a winger position? More than likely, because Jack's been playing on the wing. And then there's, Kyle Walker is also leaving. That's why I've mentioned Livramento, because he's going. We could talk about the goalkeeping position, because at the end of the day, we could be losing at least one. So who do we think about maybe coming in as obviously as a permanent or maybe as a backup. Now there's obviously God, it's just the name's just going out of my head. Trafford, who is part of our academy. He's someone who's a young talent, that possibly could come in. So this is why I'm trying to get you guys to think, just expand and think about the players that are out there, English-wise, that could come in and do some jobs in the positions that we're going to need to replace, the players that are outgoing and the positions that are going to need filling.
Would Harwood Bellis count as an option?
Top shout, Nick.
Again, I don't know if he's at that level.
And they're gonna get sent down, so we might be able to get him on the cheap.
Yeah,
I'll be real with you. I don't think he's the player we should be going for. In all honesty,
Yeah.
He's bad, but I think he hasn't done well this season in the Premier League for Southampton at all. They've been poor, and I think we've got to look at someone better than that. Really,
Is that all down to him, though, Luke? Is that because I think it's slightly harsh because I think he has been quite decent at Southampton. I've seen a couple of their games. I thought he has had some good quality games. I know what you're coming from. I think when you're looking at a team that are so far down that are definitely going to be relegated.
Oh, it's a hard one.
But sometimes you can miss that diamond in the rough. Do you know what I mean? That player that maybe everyone around him, the ship's going down. But
I'm not saying he's poor, but I think he's a good player. I just think this season's been such a terrible on their part that it's hard to really see the good players that have actually been good. But I imagine them in like a Palace or something like that, or a Brentford or a Fulham probably doing a lot better right now, probably. But when we're in a bad team like that sinking, it's hard to do well.
Why don't you just bring back? Is it Colm Doyle? Isn't Colm Doyle better than him? Colm Doyle
is also.
I thought someone said we were going to sell him.
Here you go, guys. I've got two names for you.
Go ahead.
Two names.
One.
We're only allowed 25-man squad here, by the way. Before we've made a 60-man squad, we're not buying everyone.
First one will be pretty tame.
Starting to look like an NFL team.
Yeah, if Jack goes, potentially Anthony Gordon.
No, we're not getting him out of Newcastle. That'd be 100 million.
Why can I hear Newcastle fans saying, why is everyone buying our players?
Well, have you heard the rumors about Bruno G today? Apparently Arsenal think they're going to get him for 60 million this summer if they don't qualify for Champions League. Allegedly.
I do think Bruno will be gone.
Is Bruno English? Is Bruno English? Then we don't.
He is English.
He'd be so good on this team.
Look at Ozzy being all dictatorship now. Go on, Ozzy. Smack that whip.
And then lastly, what about, I know this is a bit left field, but I know Kobbie Mainoo wants out of United.
Ooh,
right, kick him off. I'm done. Get rid of him.
Good ideas.
What's he doing here?
And I'm looking
Nick,
for names.
Where Nick is going, he'll be like, oh, cheeky bid for Rashford. I'm telling you, that's where it's going. The cheeky bid for Rashford.
Getting him.
That's how desperate the homegrown quota's got.
Can I ask a serious question, especially on Colm Doyle? Every time I've looked at him, I just look at him as he's above the level that we throw him at. Am I just wrong to say that? Every time, we throw him on loan, but every time he even comes on preseason, he looks like he's comfortable and ready. But yet, when we throw him to these teams, every time when he goes to a certain team, he just looks better than all of them, and they just rave about him. Is there a reason why maybe we're just sitting him out? Because I think Colm Doyle is a good player. I think he is a great player, and I think I was rating him more than Howard Bellis, and I've noticed that Howard Bellis is at Southampton. Colm Doyle, we've refused bids. I think we refused a bid for Southampton, refused a bid from Bournemouth. I think we've refused bids for him. So do they have a plan for him, or they're just going to continue throwing him around?
He looks like
This is one of the reasons we would talk about this tonight, is because, again, we have got some options in this field with the likes of Cam Doyle, because I think we look at the squad currently and we think, well, he will be coming as possibly left back. So that's someone who could challenge likes of Guardiola. But then we also think about the likes of Akanji. We think of Stones, Ake. These are players where a couple of them, or at least one, could be gone in the summer. So you like John Stones and Ake, again, both homegrown. Do you know what I mean? So having someone who's already part of City, bringing Cam Doyle in could be an option that we do. Do you know what I mean? He could be the backup to Guardiola.
Yeah.
We know he can play at centre back. So again, it's another option.
So
Norwich
has been a bit. I think at Norwich he's been all right. I mean, Norwich have been the best City, but knows pretty well there.
Yeah. But I think he has shown, as Pat said, that I think he, out of the team he's around, he's probably a quality above his teammates.
Oh, I agree. I like him. I think he's definitely worth getting an opportunity. I mean, I think he's at the age now where I think he's not like McAtee age, where like it's you have to play a lot more week in, week out now. And he's still good enough to sort of come in and be a squad player and learn from the other team. But I think that's why McAtee got really annoyed, because I thought, why are you giving him the chance now when he got that chance a couple of years ago when he was going out on loan? I mean, it's kind of like it's hard, but I know. But I wish he had more choice. With McAtee, we had more chances earlier on. That's why I hope it's not too late for him, hopefully.
Am I correct in saying that I saw a video? I think they did a day in the life of Callum Doyle recently on the City channel.
They did.
Online.
No, it was on. I think it was on the Norwich channel.
Was it?
Somebody did. I did watch it though. I know what you're talking about.
It was also on the City channel. I think it was also
correct.
On
so that's why I was like, that's a bit strange.
Yeah, we don't really often do that, so I think that's a good shout out, Nick. I do, because is that saying something without saying it?
Like life on loan, but it's on the YouTube. Yeah, life
that's
on
what
loan.
it was. Yeah.
Was it on the City channel there, Lou?
About a month ago, yeah.
It was.
Yeah, interesting.
That's probably where I watched it.
Which probably means then he's probably been obviously tells the players to come back then, which is pretty good.
Would anyone go for Mark Gay?
Well, he's been my top shout for quite a while. I've mentioned him quite a lot.
I think he's still going to spend 60 mil on him, because I think even though he's got a year left, I think there's that many clubs going to be interested in him. Because by the way, it's all right us all going Mark Gay and all these. Liverpool may need a centre back. Chelsea may want a centre back, and this is the one thing City. The one thing that we've all noticed with City is we don't generally do bidding wars. We don't generally go down the. If there's 5 clubs involved, if that player isn't using Manchester, I'll put it in a better way. If that player doesn't see Manchester City as his number one, we don't tend to get involved in a bidding war. If that player says Man City is my number one destination, then I think we'll bid. But if Mark Gay goes, oh well, let me see what Liverpool do. I think City just won't get involved in it.
Yeah, on the Mark Gay one, Martin, I was just going to jump in and say I was going to flag him as a potential option before, but I think now with Kusanov and all these kind of players coming through, I'm a bit unsure.
There's a bit of breaking news from Jack West. Don't know where that's come from.
Says who? Where's that coming from?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, no. And we're not going to. We've banned 115 for today's chat. So
we'll talk about that next week. And then next week is when the 115.
I'm calling in sick that day, and I will come on and cook everyone. I hope my boss.
Patrick's jumping Ozzy, so if you want to.
Yeah,
let Patrick just.
Have your last few minutes, mate, just to.
Plug your argumentative clickbait title channel. Off you go.
Do you know, Martin? The thing is, I think I'm a necessary evil, especially at this point in time. You know what?
You are the biggest shit stir in the City community over the last 10 days.
This is what I keep telling people. When I used to watch City channels were so peaceful. Like it was all kumbaya, and every time a City panelist goes to a panel. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna create a panel where it's just gonna be chaos. And Martin, don't lie, you've enjoyed the chaos. You've been part of the chaos most of the time.
I've not had an argument with Cal for about 2 years, so it's actually quite refreshing to go.
I know. Today it reminded me back in the days when you guys used to go at it for an hour and we'd just say, "Oh my god." Anyway, look. For me, there's one more name I want to mention. And every time I mention this name and I write it on Twitter, people attack me on Twitter when I write this name. But I'm still hoping for him. I still think, till the date of today, even though Southampton suck, Kyle Walker-Peters would still be good for City as a right back.
Good. Yeah.
I just think he'll be good. I think he'll be good. Yeah. Don't forget, he's the one who made Walker sit on the bench and Walker leave Spurs.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
we
But you
can
know
get
what?
more into that.
You know
But
what?
go on,
If
thanks, Pat.
But if I had a link to City, please, this Adam fella from Crystal Palace, just drop that 70, 80 mil. I'm telling you, it'll be worth it. I think that's what the team is missing right now. They're missing somebody who's just a competent midfielder and who's just good. I don't know. So Steve Lewis is confident 105. Oh, we've been bad for 105. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. What about Maddison? Can we not do a cheeky bid for Maddison?
No, that's been and gone, mate. It's been and gone, that one.
Definitely. Nick has also got to
Madison's
leave us,
already
so.
See you guys. I got to jump.
Yeah, thanks, Quill.
Cheers,
Really
lads.
appreciate you.
See you soon.
Yeah. See you later.
Big up, Nick.
I don't know. There's two.
Well,
I don't know
too.
where people got that from. Listen, 115 will happen when 115 is on.
Oh, look, I can't find anything on what he's on about. So I don't know where that
I
comes
tell
from.
you were talking about very different players if we have lost 115.
Ron Jones.
I would like some sources,
Go
please.
and start looking at Mansfield. Go and start looking at Mansfield Town players.
Paul Mullin.
Anyway, go on. Do you know, can I just say, by the way, someone made a very good, there was one earlier on that I'm going to put about homegrown, which is a really good one. I'm just trying to look for the comment now. It was a really, really good example. Where is it?
I think we'll get rid of some foreign players this window too, not just homegrown.
Yeah, but I think with the foreign players, I think what you've got to look at, girls, is that really and truly it's going to be 1 in, 1 out.
Yeah, I think that's what'll happen.
Yeah, so I
totally
think
agree with you.
because we are quite close now because the likes of some of the new players coming in like Reece and Echeverry.
Are we getting away with it because of their age?
No, because they're still coming in as foreign players, so we don't get away with it. They haven't come through the academy or stuff like that. So we're very close now to basically it is going to have to be 1 out, 1 in when it comes to foreign players.
I think
So
we'll get
that's
rid of
why
some of this summer.
But this is why I'm talking about.
Possibly.
Yeah, but this is why I'm talking about the English quota tonight, because this is something we've seriously got to look at.
Definitely. Yeah, because a lot of them.
This is a good point. This was it by Oliver. We've all forgotten Jimmy Barr might come back. We don't know what's going to happen with him yet.
I know somebody who watches Liga and he said he was really good in his debut.
Yeah. So that foreign quota is only getting bigger. And you know, we've really got to start being smart, and we're going to have to start bringing in that English quota.
The one thing I will say on the foreign lot, Ozzy, sorry, just give it. You got to look at, as long as they are under 21 by the 1st of January 2025, then they're okay.
See, that's what I was thinking about, like Hayes, Kusanov.
Yeah, but Doku and Gavardio will be included in the foreign contingent next season.
Forgetting about them. That's right.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So that's what you're going to look at. So two come in, 2 then go on to it, because obviously they're getting older, because Gavardio and Doku are then 21, and then you've got the McAtee one as well. Because people talk about McAtee like he's 17 years old. He's not. He's 23. He's a grown man now.
24, nearly.
Yeah, he's 24 now. So you gotta. Oh, Jack West said it was on the David Ornstein podcast. Yeah, I did hear that. I think both sides are confident, but I promise you, Jack, we'll deal with that next week. We're not ignoring it. We just until we know, because City have all said they're confident. We're just going to end up not knowing. And I will say, I do think, I know we're doing homegrown, and let you come back to that. I do think that's what's caused some unrest this season and the panic. I think in the back of everyone's minds, there is that 115 stuff in the back of everyone's mind. And I think it has caused a little bit of unrest and a little bit of nervousness. It's one of them, do you know, when everything just snowballs together? When everything's going great, everyone's come by you and you don't look at the problems so much. But when everything's going bad, everything's bad. You start looking at the pitch, and the pitch isn't good enough. And you start looking at the fit. We were never looking at a fitness coach or anyone else last season. No one was talking about the fitness coach or the set piece coach. Now we're looking at set piece coaches. We're mentioning high lines. We're mentioning zonal marking. That has been going on for 3-4 years. But because it's more noticeable because we're in a bad situation, everyone looks at it in a different way. And it's like that in life. That's the way everyone looks at it.
Yep. No, totally, Martin. You're totally right about that. So that's why I was trying to bring in some positivity to tonight's show. And yet, you know, 115 cannot help itself to bring itself in and
we don't. Wait, we don't have a set piece coach.
He went to Brentford. We lost one to Brentford or to Arsenal. The fitness coach went to Liverpool. A lot this season, then. Was it Liverpool or Arsenal? Our fitness coach went to.
No, he went to Liverpool. He went like 3 seasons ago, I think it was. It was after the treble, I think. Now I remember.
People forget Pep has a new backroom staff nearly every year. We've had Arteta, we've had Maresca, we've had Juan Lilo.
Yeah,
it's not Pep never has. Pep never really has a set backup. That's where Pep is different. Pep, when you look at Pep Guardiola, like when Klopp goes to a new job, he'll take a set team with him. Or when this manager goes, he'll have a set team with him. Pep doesn't really have a set team that goes with him, apart from 2 or 3 people.
And you have to look at the proof of that, the amount of managers that have come, that have worked under Pep. You know, you mentioned like the Maresca. You know, the number of backroom staff that have gone on to have their own coaching and managerial careers is a long list, and that's why, you know, Arteta has talked about. You know, that's one of the great things about Pep is that he passes his knowledge on. He you know, he's coaching the next lot of coaches and managers that are coming out. So, yeah.
Oh, we got a new member. I would say a renewal membership.
Oh, brilliant. Do you want to do it, mine then?
No, I'll let you do it, mate. You're hosting.
Oh, very cool. Is that Colum? I can't pronounce that name. Sorry.
Cornelius Day.
Cornelius Day. Thank you for your membership for the next 8 months, mate. It's well appreciated. Thank you.
And there was a super chat from Tone.
Hey, yeah, Tone.
Thank you, Tone. You did put it out a lot earlier. I did try and highlight it, mate, but we were in the middle of a chat, so I did say thank you very much. And yeah, please don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, please think about hitting that as well. Yeah, so like I said, I mean, I think there are a number of English players that could come through. I've mentioned my top 3. I think the likes of Livramento, for me, is a player that, you know, I know is at Newcastle, but for me, he's possibly one of those players we could get out of Newcastle, because the likes of, you know, Bruno and Isak are the ones where Newcastle are definitely going to want to have to keep hold of. You know, you can understand them not wanting to let those players go, but they've also got to appreciate their own financial situation where they probably are going to have to sell to bring in a little bit, especially if they want to, you know, challenge for the Champions League.
Just not funny anymore, Andrew. Not funny. You will be getting a message later, Andrew. Naughty boy.
Yeah.
I'm not filling in for Jackie, just saying.
Do you know people still think that I was on TalkSport? I don't know where it's gone.
I don't know who put that rumour out. Anyway.
I'm not filling in for Jackie, just saying.
I'm a cat, you cheeky sod. Anyway, Rangers just knocked out Fenerbahce.
Oh,
big
Rangers.
Big Rangers.
Rangers, yeah. There you go.
Evening, Faye. Have you sorted your internet out for this recording coming up? Get it sorted, you.
Like you can talk, Martin, being on dial-up. Jeez.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing we've got to look at. We can want all these players. We can name 1,000 players. There's 2 things that have to work. The player has to want to come, and the club have to want to sell. If the club don't, you got to remember Newcastle. Forest is different because the Ainer's on a free transfer. But if you look at Livramento, you look at Isaac, Newcastle are trying to improve their team. They're trying to be where we are.
But the problem
that's what
got mine is that they're not in the same position that City were back in the day of 2008.
Yeah,
you know,
they're handcuffed.
We were taking over. Financially, they're a lot more restrained than we were in those first few seasons. We were able to keep the likes of Aguero. Can they really keep hold of Isaac's, Bruno's. Maybe they can, but do they have to make a bit of a trade-off? Is where I look at Livramento, because he's someone that can play left back and can play right back. Again, he's an English quota. He's someone that possibly Newcastle might think about doing a deal for, because they may be able to get 40, 50 million for him. That's the way I look at someone like Livramento. And the other thing about Livramento is that the reason I put him forward is because defensively he's very good. Going forward, not so much, possibly. You know, he may look at struggling as being that attacking player. And we know the likes of...
Never said that, Martin. I never said that. I'm clearing my name. I never said that.
We know the likes of... They put the block or put on ice for Cambiasso, who they were looking at January. He could be that actual player that comes in, because he's more of the flair that can bring in the quality passes for the likes of Haaland. So I could probably see that deal happening more likely than Livramento. But I think that you could look at Livramento is that defensively, I think he's a lot better than likes Cambiasso.
Do you know what I am though, Ozzy? I will say this in public. I'm excited for all this coming up.
So
I'm actually excited because I'm excited about the new faces, the new ideas. Because listen, the one thing Ferguson was very good at. Ferguson, as much as I hate the fella, I don't hate him because I don't know him personally, but as much as I can dislike him, he's very, very good at knowing when a player is coming to the end. And he even rebuilt his backroom staff. You look at Brian Kidd, he went to Steve McLaren, he went to Carlos Queiroz, he went to a number, he was the bald-headed fella. I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, don't you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Someone put it in the comments, I'm sure.
Yeah. So he had a different backroom or assistant all the time. And sometimes I think that's what we need. I just think things have got a little bit stale this season. I think things have got a little bit, don't get me wrong, some people have gone a bit hyperbole on it. But I think that's human reaction. We always look at things in the worst case scenario.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just a case of, to me, I'm excited for it. Yeah, maybe it's the season too late, but what I always say, you got to learn from your mistakes. Like Hamza has said in spaces with me, it's about how you learn from the mistakes. We made the mistake, we're going to learn from it. And what gave me the confidence is they learned straight away in January. At the first opportunity they had to rectify anything, they did it in January. Mike Phelan, thank you, David, appreciate that. Mike Phelan, that was it. So that tells me straight away that the board know they will correct it. I'd have been more worried if we'd have done nothing in January and just motored along it the way we were doing. Then I'm like, hang on a minute. Right, there's something not. That tells me one thing. We have failed 115 or the board have stopped caring. But our board is not like Arsenal. It's not like Chelsea. It's not like scumbags down the road. It's like none of them. Let them build Butlins and have a circus tent and everything else they want, and a green area and a bloody picnic stand and everything else they want to build. So it's still going to mean they've got a shite team on the pitch. Nothing's going to change that. So also, that's where I've got the confidence from. This is why I'm not melting down. So anyone telling me why I'm not melting down, but the simple fact is because the board have not given me the reason to melt down.
And also, as well, Mark, you have to remember as well, like, there's no guarantee that we'll win the league anyway. Like, in football, nothing's guaranteed. You have to play well anyway to win it anyway. So, anyone thinking that next year we come back and win it all again, you've got to realise that things take time. If you want good football and a good team, you know what I mean? You got to have patience.
And Pep said, look, and by the way, Pep said in the last month, football's changing. My playing style needs to change. So again, he knows it has to change.
Centurion formation.
He knows it has to change.
Go.
So that's where I'm excited for it. We've got a new chief exec. You know, I would like Soriano to piss off, but that's for different other reasons. The money grabbing little sod.
Isn't he going to NYCFC?
I don't care. And he needs to go to the end of the earth for me, the money grabbing little sod. But anyway, that's a different scenario.
I think I missed something. What is causing this?
Soriano, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, who do you think's doing all the tickets and raising ticket prices?
Soriano. Yeah.
That's Soriano's.
He's a business guy. That's why he's a business guy.
Yeah, well, I'm not a business customer. I'm a fan.
It's
fair.
Fair. But it's balanced out properly.
A customer can choose where they shop. If I don't like Sainsbury's, I can go to Morrison's. If I don't like Manchester City, I can't just go and choose another football club. Don't work like that. So, sorry, Anne, I'll get your head out your ass.
Well, that's customers, mate.
Yeah, and that's what. But hey ho, that's me going another round.
It's American ownership, and yeah, American.
That'll be on next week, Ozzy. I've not had a good. Martin talks next week. Will be Martin rants on that situation.
Oh, I'm sure. We all look forward to that, Ryan.
Well, you can't have Verts, then you can have Gibbs White and Lumpet. Hey, I'm happy with that, mate.
I'm telling you, Rodri and Gibbs White in the meeting in the dressing room. Oof, that'd be.
That's one thing United will have, though, by the way. Once they build their new stadium, watch their ticket prices go through the roof.
Oh, it's going to boom.
We're getting. I hate to say it, because, but I think you guys are headed for American ticket prices.
Oh, will be. Yeah, it's going to
be. I hate to say it,
Kelster, to go along with it, Kelster.
You will have half-empty stadiums then. Because until the UK government change, they can charge whatever they want, but people in the UK don't get paid American wages.
I know, that's the sad part. But to be fair, like, Americans can't afford these American wages, or these American ticket prices. Like, just to go to any game, like an MLS game, is, probably $100. It's a lot of money, and it's not even good quality football. It's worse than Championship, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Have you got anything else you want to add on the homegrown stuff, Ozzy?
They're charging $1,000 if you want to go watch Messi play for Inter Miami. It's ridiculous.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that is just
like,
very ridiculous prices.
I did it once for a World Series game, and that was it. I was like, I don't do that every time. I just don't go. It's too expensive. There's also no teams where I live, so.
Really?
I can't watch anything.
Oh,
I'm in a sports. I'm in a literal desert and a sports desert.
Oh well, I can see why you support City.
Hey, it's because you guys had Americans when I started watching footy. That's literally what it was. You had Claudio Reyna, and then DeMarcus Beasley showed up, and I was like,
we don't claim any affiliation with Claudio. No, I'm only joking. I didn't mind DeMarcus Beasley, but Claudio Reyna, no thanks. He did well against Bolton in a 6-0. That was about it.
I wish Gio Reyna was good enough, because that would be a fun full circle for me.
At one point,
he's not good enough.
Gio Reyna was good at Dortmund. I thought Gio was going to really kick on, but he just never kicked on, did he, at Dortmund?
He has too many injuries.
Yeah,
he's too many injuries.
Oh well.
And also, we just don't have a good talent pool. Like, our best players are Andy Robinson and Pulisic, and I think Jedi possibly would be good enough for City, but Pulisic's not. We saw Pulisic at Chelsea, and he wasn't good enough.
To be fair, most of your talent.
He found the right team for him, but he's not good enough for the Premier League.
Well,
and
there is Sullivan. No, it's Sullivan at New York City.
I don't watch the youth. I'll talk to the USA boys. They'll give me the intel. But
see, just on this, I did hear this the other day. Asan from the 1920 pod was saying that they'd also heard that Wharton was a serious option. I think Wharton's been an option for a long time.
Yeah, they have been.
It'd be like what, Nico, Wharton, Rodri, and that 6'8" position.
That'd be good.
I seriously think he's so hybrid that I think he can play 8 and 6.
Yeah, so we need.
I think.
Isn't he a ginger?
Because isn't Nico better as an 8 than a 6?
Yeah, they're big at gingers.
Sorry, Luke. I'm not being a ginger hater here. I'm just
because I've got a bit grimy beard doesn't mean I'm not ginger as well, mate. So I'm right there with you, Luke.
I'm blonde. Come on, man.
My mate does that. I've got a mate who's got ginger and he goes, it's strawberry blonde. No, it's not, it's ginger. Just accept
It's
and move
blonde.
on.
It's strawberry blonde. Not blonde.
Yeah, so
Kyrie does need
for
less
me,
playing time.
I
but
think
for
the most
Steve is right.
likely players to come through, like if we're being honest for the English quota, is the likes of Adam Warnock, because again,
Wharton, not Warnock.
Warnock, what?
Warnock.
We're not buying in.
No.
You're thinking of Stephen Warnock, the former fullback.
I am, yeah. Wow, going back then. Yeah, so I think Adam's a serious prospect. I also think Liam Delap, as potentially as I said earlier, I think either as a backup to Haaland for a season and seeing what he can do for a season, and then saying, you want to stay, great. If you want, or you've done so well under us, we'll look at selling you out and still selling him for a big price, or just bringing him back for literally to sell him on. Because I think it'd be very silly for City not to do that kind of deal. So for me, those are the two probably that I would look at bringing in the summer at least.
I think that's the problem, Ozzy. I think that will be a problem with some, because he's not got that exotic name, and you know there will be some that will go, Adam who? And if he was called Adam Wartinho, he would absolutely be getting loved at by everyone. There is I think in general, and by the way, I think this is across all of football at the moment. I think there's a little bit of, not anti-English, but I think people have lost a lot of faith in English players due to the World Cup and the Euros. I think some of them see him as flops. They see him as not model professionals. They see him as a drinker. They see him as eating the wrong things.
The drinker?
Well, you have to look at
there is that tag. There is that tag on a lot of English players that we like to go out. They like to go out and have a drink and a party.
You have to look at what's happened with Jack Grealish of late. Do you know what I mean? You have to look at
Kelster's fitting in. Getting the old English mentality.
Yeah, I'm one of the most British Americans you'll find. I drive a stick shift. I use 24-hour clock, and I use Celsius on my phone.
Okay. Well, the way I look at Adam Warnock, if you want to compare him to someone that I think I've really liked as a foreign player that I thought we should have got, is the likes of Jao Neves. Because I think
Jesus, what?
Wow.
Steve,
I'm not saying that with a blind goal.
Oh,
I see. That's what I do think. I do think some have got PTSD over Phillips and Jack Grealish and others like that.
But again, as I've tried to highlight tonight, we can't forget about the English quota. It's not going anywhere. It's a rule that we have to have. I can't remember the exact number now, top of my head, Martin, but we do have to have a certain amount.
Up to 8. You can have up to 8 in your 25. You can have less than 8, but then you've got to have a smaller squad.
Around these like the Frimpogs who plays for the Netherlands, but he's homegrown because he's academy trained. Somebody had brought up Houston from Brentford, Bournemouth, one of those teams. Somebody brought him up. He's Spanish, but I don't know if he's been in the academy long enough to qualify as homegrown. Like we should be kind of like Ake. We should be kind of.
That's a good point, that Kelsey. By the way, you can't call it a stick shift and say you're an honorary Brit.
None of us say it's a manual. I drive a 16 manual transmission.
Nice try.
I have a clutch. I drive a car. I don't steer it. And I know you have to get a license for both of them in the UK. I do know that.
No, you can have a license for. If you have a license for manual, you can drive
automatic, but you can't do.
But you can also get an automatic. You can also get just an automatic license.
Well, my friend had an automatic, so.
Yeah, you can't drive if you've got an automatic license. You can't then drive a manual.
You drive on the wrong side of the road over there, anyway, Kelsey. You drive on the bloody. What's going on? Drive on the wrong side.
Well,
by the way, true story. I know we're way off here. I nearly had a crash in America. I turned out the wrong way out of an exit, and I had to literally.
That would be me in the UK. I would probably do the same thing.
I was all right because it was 1 a.m, so I could do a quick U-turn, get back to the right way again. I was coming out of Cheesecake Factory, so I was like, oh crap, that's no good.
Then you were definitely in America if you were coming out of a Cheesecake Factory. Oh God.
Yeah. Cheesecake Factory in a Publix.
Oh, you must have been in Florida then.
Yep.
I've never been to Florida, so you beat me to it.
Anyway, Martin, as you said, anything else we want to talk about the English crowd before
there's not really a minimum. Just on that, like Ozzy was saying, there's not a minimum. It's you can have 17 foreign players of your 25, and then you can have up to 8 more to make your 25-man squad, which are classed as homegrown. But it's not English; it's academy trained for at least 2 years before the 21. Is where it works out. But that's the homegrown quota was brought in for the national team. Germany have a similar thing. It's for the national teams. It was trying to encourage them to use their academies a lot more and use other things, but it hasn't worked out. It's not worked. A lot of people want it scrapped.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's starting Cheesecake Factory conversations.
Yeah.
There is no chance we're getting Camavinga, as much as I would love that guy.
I don't want Camavinga. We've talked about injuries. Camavinga has missed 24 games this season.
Yeah, he's a good player, but I don't want to reach him.
And by the way, if he's world class, why are Madrid selling? If he's world class,
that's why I don't think. That's why I think it's fake. They don't sell.
Madrid don't get rid of the players that would. And for me, shouldn't we be competing with players from Madrid, not buying their cast-offs?
Yeah.
Still want Valverde, but I think it's never happening.
Listen, we are one of Madrid's rivals right now when it comes to like the Champions League. They are not going to want to strengthen us with one of their players. I think Camavinga is using his agent very well in trying to get a better deal, which is what happens with a lot of players that are at top clubs. They will throw the likes of Manchester City, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, because they know throwing these names in is because, one, the option's there if they do have to leave, but two, ultimately, they know they're going to be paid the bigger wages because realistically, you're not going to get the massive big wages for some of these players because Real Madrid still also have to look at giving their big kind of paychecks to like the Mbappes and Vinicius Juniors. Camavinga is going to be further down that pay scale, but he's still going to want big money. So I think we have to be realistic. I mean, I think the Wirtz train, I understand and I totally can see him adding so much quality to this squad. And I think I would love to see him come in, but I also think we have to be realistic about if he doesn't feel that we're on his list or we're at least not top of his list, then we may have to kind of look at other players.
I didn't know I was rich. I'm a rich.
Beers, was it? Yeah.
I've got another half. Trust me, I'm not rich.
I never said that. Where did this come from? You're making that up. I never said that.
The more you keep denying it, Gelsa, the more it's true.
I never said that.
Steve Black, mate. Steve Black.
That's not a challenge for me.
Yeah, and by the way, players do this as well. Like Kimmich played Arsenal to get their deal out of Bayern.
Yeah.
Didn't we got played by Jude and Rice, didn't we?
No, the Rice thing, from what I heard, and it's I would say reported, like, was he didn't want to be back up to a certain Spaniard.
Yeah.
I think he didn't want to challenge himself and he wanted to stay in London.
But the trouble is, do you want to sit on a bench for a Ballon d'Or player?
I don't think he would have, though. I think Pep would have found a way to.
No, he didn't want to.
I don't think he wanted to even challenge himself to the likes of playing.
Somebody would have replaced. One of those two would have replaced Gundo because Gundo left that season. Oh, stop!
We will never know, and I don't think we need to know, because as good as Declan Rice, I think, is a player, I just ultimately don't think he was a City player.
We could have turned Rodri into an 8.
Guys, supporters put out breaking 5th position in Premier League is now confirmed to be Champions League place the next season.
Yeah.
Top 5 then.
According to who? Oh, is it because
City Report put it out, which I'm not saying they're wrong, but they're putting out breaking stuff on aggregator. That's quite bad. That's wrong. So
yeah, the coefficient is so far ahead. We're absolutely miles ahead on coefficient.
I know Italy took the absolute piss. They were awful. They had 5 this season and only 1, and they only have Inter left in the Champions League. So Italy took a nosedive. So that gave us room.
And Alan still sat there saying, "We're going to finish 6."
I think we're finishing.
I think he said at one point.
I think we're gonna. I think I am with you all the way, Martin. I think we're qualifying.
Do you know what makes me laugh though? Do you know I love Alan to bits, but Alan is the person who told me against Aston Villa, against Liverpool, against Arsenal that we were losing all these league titles and we were never going to win anything. He said we weren't beating Real Madrid in the semi-finals of the Champions League. So that's why I don't fully trust Alan on the opinions, because he's kind of wrong a lot, which is fine because I like us when we win. But what it is with Alan, he's a worrier. Alan likes to worry.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Trust me, if you saw some of our WhatsApp chats, he worries.
Understatement.
But it gives us at least top 5's good. It's a bit of a buffer at least, so we've got something to aim for in that area.
Yes.
Which we get there.
I think we're finishing 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, pretty hard. We've got a bit of buffer now.
Moody Margaret. Anyway, Ozzy, do you want to take us home?
Yeah, so thanks for everyone who's been on the panel tonight. Much appreciate you all coming on and having your views and getting involved. We all appreciate, like you, Kelster and Luke, coming on and staying to the very end. It's unlike some people like Rich who bobbing for 5 minutes and then bob out, and Pat who never seems to be here anymore, starting to worry that we're going to put his face in a milk cart.
He was with me on Tuesday.
Well, that's news to me. Yeah, I don't think we see enough of him. I think he's too much on AWOL.
So that tells me, everyone, that Ozzy has not watched Tuesday's show of his own channel, which he just pissed poor.
I know. Some of us have got to work for a living, which is what I've got to do tomorrow.
Well, hang on. Has Luke got bad news over there?
No, I haven't.
All right. I thought you'd read something then, the way you said.
No, we're all good. We're all good. It's fine, all right.
Yeah, everyone big up Ozzy for hosting. He is doing a stand-up job.
Great job, man.
No one will get that reference.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Martin will be tacking back over the channel over the weekend, I'm sure.
No, I'm leaving now. I'm leaving. I'm going doing the podcast. Sorry, mate.
Oh, here we go. I thought there's the breaking news, Luke. There's what you probably read.
That's what everyone said to me the other day. Am I leaving the channel?
I never claimed to be.
That's very true. I am the professional here.
I guess everyone's putting words in my mouth too.
Yeah, no, there's loads coming up. We'll be back Sunday for the Brighton. I'm off Friday, Saturday. Tomorrow is my son's birthday, so we're going out. Saturday I'm out. I'm at the game. We'll do 15. Just not on. So we'll be back Sunday night for the Brighton post match. Tuesday we'll do another episode of Martin Talks. I'm going to ask Team 1894 want to come on. And then Thursday, I know it's international break, but we will do our full rebuild squad for people we think may go out, may come in. And it's only our views. We're not hating on players, for anyone says. And then, by then there may be news, there may be not, maybe the week after, but then we'll get to all the 115. Yeah, and that's when Ozzy will go back to hosting again, and I'm going to go to a desert island somewhere.
I feel like if 115 breaks, it'll just be an emergency stream. I'll be available because I'm calling in sick.
If we win, there will be a 24-hour stream.
Oh, dude.
If we don't
I will
win,
join you for that.
I will be ignoring.
Barbecue.
Martin will be. He had his head under a pillow.
She's gonna crash it too. We'll catch.
I'll be getting home. I'll be getting my A to Z to all the lower league teams back out again. But, oh, it's the 90s again. Here we go.
I'm coming over for one of those. A lower league. Oh, dude,
on it, Eastleigh.
I'd be
Great
down.
fixtures there.
Stoke on a cold night on a Tuesday. Yeah.
Hey, Steve, you're always welcome on, mate. Always welcome on. Just let me know when you're free, mate. We'll get you on.
Yeah, definitely.
And I hope you're enjoying the book.
The next YouTube star.
So yeah, a big thank you to everyone for watching tonight and all your comments. I'm sorry we've not read them out tonight, but Martin, even though he's joined for the last half an hour, he's had to spend some time with his dad, and that's understandable with everything going on through. So,
which I'm going back to now as well. Yeah, he is out of hospital, by the way. He is well. Well, he's not well, but he's out of hospital. It's a day by day thing at the moment. We'll see how it is, but yeah. No, appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate. Luke, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you, mate?
Yeah, of course. An NIML podcast, not on time podcast. Just recently hit 1,000 subscribers, which is obviously during the channel. So which is good, and yeah, it's just over there. Show after the games, podcast every now and then when I get lads on. But yeah, just like Martin's channel, it's a place to sort of hang out, chat city, and say what they want to say. Big up to everyone for supporting me on that.
Yeah, good to have you on, Luke. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Thank you, mate. Cheers for that.
And Kelster can be found in the Cheesecake Factory near
Oh. No.
driving a stick shift.
Yeah, I drive a manual, a 6-speed manual. Hey, most Americans don't do that. 4% cars in America are manuals. I am in the 4%.
You don't drive cars, you drive tanks over there.
I have a small car.
Hummers.
I have an economy car. There's no power, but it has 6 speeds.
So thank you to everyone. As Martin said, we'll be back on Sunday for our post-match analysis of the game against Brighton. And yeah, big thank you to all watching. Please don't forget to hit that like button on your way out. It really does help the channel. And if you're not subscribed, why the hell not? We've had a great show tonight. And if you want more of this, subscribe and yeah, you'll get more quality content from this panel and others. Good night from me. Good night from Martin. Good night from Kel. Good night from Luke. We'll see you on the next one.